another episode of the English language, presented to you by teacher Ssembajwe Ibrahim, one of the best teachers in the country. Today with me, I'm going to present to you I'm going to present to you the use of since and for, and for your information, we're going to look at them as prepositions. How or when do we use since and for? Let me begin with the use of since. As preposition, I emphasize we're going to use them as a preposition. As a preposition, it has other aspects of the language it undergoes. For instance, since can be used as an adverb. At one other point, it can also be used as a conjunction and a preposition. But for today, we are looking at it as a preposition. How are we going to use it? Since is used to stipulate the point of time an action begins. Since is used to imply when an action begins, a point of time when an action begins. We're going to have examples of points of time when since is being used. For instance, "9 a.m. is a point of time, so one can easily tell you, I've been here since 9 a.m. 9 a.m. is a point of time. Yeah. The use of since is used to imply a point of time when an action begins. For instance, 9 a.m. Let's look at more of such. Saturday is also a point of time. For example, you can say, we've been here since Saturday. A year also, 2010 or 2010 is a point of time. So you can also say, we've been doing this work since 2010 or 2010. So 2010 is also a point of time. So there are so many points of time, and we can have those that denote months. For example, January is also a point of time. So you can say since January, since 2010, since Saturday, since 9 a.m., and all those are points of time. Now, when do we use for as a preposition? Like I told you, since and for, we're going to look at them as preposition in this aspect. So for, when do we use for? We use for to state the amount of time. In other words, we use for to talk about the duration, how much an action has been performed. And we have examples on which we use for, as in here below. So, unlike 9 a.m., which is a point of time, don't confuse this example. So we can talk about 3 hours. For instance, we can say, We've been doing computer work for 3 hours. 3 hours is a point of time, right? We have, it's duration, not point of time. I beg your pardon. So, we have durations in terms of months. For example, we can talk about 2 months. We can talk about 2 months. For instance, we have dug this piece of land for 2 months. For 2 months. 2 months is duration. For 10 years. Five minutes, not minutes, we said minutes if we are denoting time. So we say for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is also duration. That's why we use for when talking about an action whose time has been spent in 5 minutes. Now, there's something I want us to look at about the use of since and for, and that's none other than the structure bit of it. The structure use of since and for, and I'm going to be specific, that is in the present perfect continuous tense. You shouldn't be confused with the word structure. It's an adjective denoting to a structure. A structure is like a building, and when it comes to sentence construction, a structure is a form that helps us to construct some sentences in English. So we are going to look at the use of for and since in the present perfect continuous tense. So let's not be confused with the present perfect continuous tense. This tense has something to do with the following format here. All about, let me be specific a little. Let me give you a brief background about the tense. And the tense I'm referring to is the present perfect continuous tense. This tense has something to do with the use of these helping verbs, a combination of them. And after using these two helping verbs, has for singular and have for plural, we shall use another helping verb which is been followed with a verb. And that verb, for us to be able to form what we call the present perfect continuous, shall have an ing ending on it. So the present perfect continuous tense has something to do with the use of has been, get a verb and add an ing. This is a plus sign. I'm not a mathematician. It may not be that beautiful, but I intend to write a plus sign. Has been plus a verb plus an ing ending, or have been plus a verb plus an ing ending. For example, she has been digging. That is present perfect but continuous. Present perfect continuous. They have been looking after the cows. That is present perfect continuous. So now I'm embedding the tense and the structure at the same time. Okay? And the use of since and for. How do we do it? Oh, we are going to have a few examples here. What I forgot to tell you about, that when we're using the present perfect continuous tense, with the use of since and for, we intend to talk about actions that started some time back. And again, those actions are still taking place, just as we're going to see in our examples. Let's have that examples here. Yeah, there are times in subsection A2 of the English paper when they gave us a couple of sentences of that kind. Musa started clearing the land in August. It's now September. He is still clearing the land. And then the examiner will require you to use the structure here. Or now this is the structure, like I've told you, the structure use of since and for. Now, when you are taught to use for, don't forget, for is used to imply or talk about a duration when an action began. And again, when you are taught to use since, we intend to talk about a point of time when an action began. Let's go. When you read through the following sentences, they will tell you to rewrite as one sentence using for or using since. Now, we are going to begin with with instruction 1, where we are taught to use for. And like I told you already, when we are using for, we must talk about the duration when an action, or how much an action has started. So when we read through the sentences, Musa started clearing the land in August. It's now September, and he's still clearing the land. And if you are taught to use for, that will run in our mind that there is need of use of common sense, whereby we shall need to use some kind of mathematics here to establish how much time he used it. And in case you are given this, and an action started and is still taking place, of course you will have to come from the tense. That's the present perfect continuous tense, where we use has been, have been, just as the sample here is. So the answer for instruction 1 would be Musa has been clearing the land. What's the relation between August and September? Obviously, that's 1 month. Now, because I'm going to use 4, that's why I need to use 1 month. I will no longer use August and September. They have just been useful in such a way that they helped me to establish the duration Musa has been clearing the land. And the answer is going to be Musa has been clearing the land for a month. I have used 4, and I've used has been clearing the land, which is the present perfect continuous tense. Are we together? So, Again, I can use since in the same structure, or I mean with the same sentences. How? You only have to know or to remember what I told you, that since is used to talk about a point of time when an action occurs. So when I read through here, Musa started clearing the land in August. The point of time he started clearing the land is August or August. So here we are going to use August, the point of time when we are using since. And the answer is going to be the answer for instruction 2 where we are using since. This is instruction 1, use for, use since. And it's going to be now that this time round I'm using since, I must use a point of time, which is none other than August. This time round, I will not say since 1 month, because 1 month is duration. So, this is the use of since and for in the present perfect continuous tense. Let's read again. Example 1. I'm going to give one more example and a few questions for you to try out there on your own. So let's look at this. Musa started clearing the land in August. It's now September. He is still clearing the same land. We are using for. The answer is going to be Musa has been clearing the land for a month, implying Musa started some time back and is still doing the same. Now, number 2, we are using since. Musa started clearing the land in August. It's now September. He's still clearing the land. We're using since, and the answer is going to be Musa has been clearing the land since August. So you see the difference? So in our next move, we're going to have a couple of questions that you try out on your own as being helped by your parents. Or for to complete a sentence, the following sentences. The carpenter has been smoothing the planks, dash 10 a.m. Remember what I told you. First of all, find out whether 9 a.m. is duration or a point of time before you decide on your answer. But I guess it's a point of time. And for that reason, you're going to put, I don't know, find out. Reading. The shepherd has cared for those sheep, dash a fortnight. Find out, is a fortnight a point of time? Is a fortnight duration? So, are we going to say the shepherd has cared for those sheep since a fortnight? Or are we going to say the shepherd has cared for those sheep since a fortnight? It's up to you. Finally, this part A, I don't know. Let's read on. Roman 3. We've been traveling to the west. Something wrong to the west. We have been traveling to the west, dash 2015. The question is 2015 a point of time or duration? So are we going to say we've been traveling to the west for 2015 or since 2015? The choice is yours. Finally, on my part B of your tryout is going to be, I'm giving one question, but the instructions are going to vary a bit. I start? All right. So in our example B, we are going to rewrite this sentence which is here, but using this instruction 1 and instruction 2. Rewrite the sentence below using since or for. Below is here. The government started announcing COVID-19 cases in March. It's now September. It is still announcing. So, with the help of your parent, you are going to use since or for. Don't forget since for a point of time. So you have to find out a point of time in this question. And for duration, the amount of time between September and March. For now, I sign out. We meet again. Thank you.